Hey, welcome to part 3 of drawing a t-shirt in Illustrator. Next we are going to add in the neckline and the rib. So I am going to use one of my arrows, select my main body here, and I am going to take the fill out of it so that we can see the actual neckline. And next, we're going to draw the neckline. Oops, sorry, I'm zooming in. Okay, so we hit P and we're going to start at this center point, and I'm going to draw the front neckline first. So we'll start here and click, and then I'm going to go somewhere up here, click and drag and create my neckline shape. Once I get the neckline shape I like, I'm going to click on that point to get rid of the handlebars, come down here and click, and then click and drag to create the rib shape. Okay, so now we have an outline of the rib, of the neckline. The collar, I guess is what really we should call it. So then I'm going to hit S and I'm going to use my group selection tool to select that shape. I'm going to Command C, Command V to copy and paste it. I'm going to move it over here, open up my transform window and flip it horizontally. And then we are going to make it one. So I put these two together. I'm going to hit A, click and drag around my 2 points. They're averaged, so we'll just skip average for now. Join. And down here, click and drag, join. It's important that this is joined on all sides for the next step. We now have this smile shape. The next step we're going to do is make a rib. So I'm going to just fill this for visual purposes. I'm going to go in here and hit P and draw a line down the center of the smile collar shape that we made. So here I click and drag. And this time I'm going to let it make its own line because you see how it kind of perfectly snaps back up. So just click and we're good to go. I'm going to hit Command and click off of this to get rid of my tail from the pen. I'm going to also click back on it to select it and just take out the fill here. I'm also going to make the color stroke of this different just so that you can see what is happening, but you don't have to do that on yours. So what we're going to do is make this red line into the rib. So I'm going to go into my stroke window, and we're familiar with the dash line that we did before. So let's hit the dash line, but this time let's make it 1 and 1. And then what I would like for you to do is go up to the weight and make the weight wider. The goal is to make the weight wider than the shape that we made, the smile collar shape that we made. This one is pretty good. I think I'm going to go back in and try doing 0.5 and 0.5 because I want this to be more of a texture and less of a visual shape. Maybe let's try 1.5 dash and 0.1 gap. I like this. I think this looks nice. Let's hit V to get to your black arrow. And if you hover over this shape, you should see how it highlights like this. If your computer is not doing this, let me show you how to do it. What you want to do is go up to View, and you want to turn on Smart Guides. Make sure there's a check mark here. What this is going to do is as you hover over items that are not locked, it will tell you what you're going to click if you click. So we want to do it here because you see when I go over the middle, this line is still a line and you can, the anchor of grabbing it is still in the middle, but it covers this with the width. So we're going to go in with our black arrow, which is V, black arrow, click on this line and we're going to drag it over here. Then we're going to go to our smile shape and we are going to Command C, Command V, copy and paste it, and we're going to bring it over the rib texture that we made. I'm going to click and drag and get both objects, and I'm going to right click and I am going to make a clipping mask. What a clipping mask is an invisible cutout, almost like a stencil, that makes it so that anything that you put behind the object you want in stenciled, it cuts away everything outside of the stencil and only shows it inside. So you see here, this is still a line as we drew it before, but it's clipped into another line that is the shape that we copied. Grab this, it's now grouped, so you should be able to grab it with your black arrow tool and bring it over here to create your rib. Doesn't that look so good? If you want to fill it, I'm going to drag away this and I'm going to fill this line. So this line is actually filled with the color we want, but my rib is red. So let's change the color of my rib. This is where the group selection tool becomes really important. Let's hit S. In here, we want to grab just the rib and not the whole shape. Because if we hit the whole shape and we try to fill this color, we are going to get not what we want. It's going to fill the background shape here, the outline, the stencil. What we want, is we want to change this line color, right? So let's hit S and we have the direct select tool and we're going to select just the rib color if you want to change that. And I'm going to go in here and change it to be a little bit darker teal so it looks like a texture, like a shadow, basically. All right. So I'm just for your visual so you can start to see, I'm going to refill, I'm going to hit my eyedropper, my eye, and refill the t-shirt. We're starting to get a little bit of a t-shirt here. Let's draw the back neck. Just so that things are simpler for me, I'm going to lock everything here. Command 2, and just locked everything here. It just makes it so that I can draw on top and we don't get everything all messy in between. I'm going to hit P and I'm going to do the same exact thing that we did for the front neckline, but just draw the shape of the back. So click and drag. I'm clicking here to get rid of the handlebars. I'm going to go here. Don't worry if you can see the shape. We're going to send it behind the front neckline after we're done. So I'm going to go here. And then I'm going to hit my arrow, I'm going to hit A for my white arrow tool and just move it down a little bit so that this looks a little nicer, it looks a little bit more like we want. And then I'm going to select it with V, black arrow, select, copy, paste, transform, flip horizontally. We're going to bring this over here. We're going to zoom in. This is where it starts to get, the averaging starts to get important. I'm going to hit A for my white arrow tool, and here we're going to average. It's just going to make all of this a little cleaner, and then we'll join. You see that this is happening from the line. It's because the handlebars are funky. So you can go in here and fix your handlebars. Sometimes I struggle and still get a point in here. So I like to use my white arrow. I select the portion that I'm trying to edit. I hit P and get my pen tool, and I put 2 points. One, see the little plus? That means it's going to add vectors into your line. I put one on one side and one on the other, and then I delete this center one, and it just makes a much smoother shape. So I'm going to go in here, same thing, clicking and dragging. You see I'm clicking and dragging from the bottom here, and that's because if I click and drag from the top, it grabs my filled object. So if I click and drag from the bottom, I'm clicking on things down here that are locked, and I'm not grabbing anything. I'm just selecting the points I want. And I'm going to, average, join, and maybe go back in here and do the same thing on this one and just make it a little smoother. Great. All right, I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to draw my rib line like this. Don't be confused. This is just meaning, the reason that this has this here, it's because it's filled over here. See, there's a fill in my line that I'm drawing. If that's throwing you off visually, you can just stop, get out of, command, click out of it, go over and get rid of your fill. So that's a little easier for you if you want. Select your line, hit I for eyedropper, and eyedrop your rib. If for some reason that this isn't working, double click into your eyedropper here. This will give you all your different options. You want appearance to appearance. Press OK. Once you have your back neck rib ready, we're going to do the same thing as the front. We're going to go back, move it to the side, go back here, copy, paste the object, lay it on top, select both, right click, make a clipping mask. And then we're going to drag that back down to the shape that we want. Now we're going to, let's zoom out a little bit because we're going to unlock everything. That's Command Option 2. You'll see that everything unlocks. So what we need to now do is go back and select both the photo with my black arrow and then hold Shift to collect selections. So you're going to hold Shift now and collect up your center front line. So now just 2 of these objects on your screen are selected, just this line and this photo. And we're going to Command 2 and lock them. So now if I go in here, I can select all of just my t-shirt and everything else is locked again. So let's zoom back in and let's bring the front neckline to the front, or should I say the back? We'll do the back to the back. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to select both of my necklines. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is group them so that way the rib and the background are both together. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to select both of these over here and group them so that now we have a front and a back neckline. So what we want to do is put this back neckline behind the front neckline. You can do this. I'm going to select the back. You can do this 2 different ways. You can send things to the back or send things to the front. So I'll show you in the drop down way and then I can tell you the command. So in Object, you can arrange, and these are all the different ways to arrange. You can send it to the current layer, which we use all the same layer, so it's not really relevant to us. And this means you can bring something all the way to the front, or you can bring it step by step forward. So there's all different things, almost like pieces of paper, like we're cutting paper. So there's all different layers of paper here, these objects. So you can send them in between layers or all the way to the front or all the way to the back. So in order to send something to backwards, not all the way to the back, but just backwards, it is Command open bracket. And since we made these only back to back, we just have to send it back once. If I sent it all the way to the back, it would send it behind the picture and then it feels like it disappeared, but it didn't. It's just behind the picture. So Command open bracket is how to send it backwards, right? We started here, Command open bracket sends it backwards. From here, we're going to select both of these and place them into the neckline. Lastly, I like to add some shadow in here to make it look like this is a front and a back. I'll go in here and use my pen tool, hit P, and draw my line. I'm just going to draw a shape that covers this whole area, and you'll see once we layer it into the back, it will give the illusion that it fits. So I'm going to make it a little darker. And then I'm going to send backwards. Command open bracket again. And now it's behind both the front and the back rib. Check it out.